So I'm 32 miles from home, just outside of Loveland, Colorado, and all of a sudden, the motor starts to sputter. Got a check engine light, so going slow in traffic, it started to sputter. It felt like it was in limp mode, but then it recovered pretty quickly. I did check the coolant temperature 237, which is good for as hot as it is. So it's not a heating issue, but is it the coil wire? I cut the tie, the wires look good, it's running good now, almost home, but this sucks. So even though I checked the coil wire before I left and it looked good, I still wondered, did something happen to that wire? I cut the tie off so it wasn't being crimped, but it just felt like this must be a coil wire issue. It's what everyone's reporting. The bike runs on one cylinder and then it comes back and then it fails again. But I wiggled the wire while I was riding and it made no difference. But I still wanted to see. So I took the coil off. With the coil loose, you can see the clamp here to remove the connector. The wires all look fine. They're all attached, and I gave a little tug on each one, and they're all good. The connector looks just fine. I don't see any issues with it. And this is where the zip tie was in place that was crimping it together, so I removed that zip tie. So if I pull the sheathing back, I can get a look at the area where the zip tie was. And I can see the wires all look good. Nothing is frayed and nothing appears broken. These wires look good. So it doesn't appear to be the coil wire. And I'm really not sure. Some people have noted that the coil wire without the zip tie is really loose. But when it's curled up and connected, there's really nowhere for it to go. And there's a zip tie on a Christmas tree here on the mount. So this is really secure. It's not going anywhere. I see no reason to have a zip tie down here crimping this wire. I saw in another post that someone said the fuel injector cable had come loose. So I checked that one by running my fingers up there, and I checked the one on the other side. Both are secure. I checked all the wires under here and I couldn't find anything loose, but I gave them all a good wiggle just to be sure. So after checking everything, it starts, but it's stumbling. You give it some gas, and now it's clearly running on one cylinder. And now it's trying to recover. Still got the check engine light. Again. Only about half the power. Running on one cylinder as far as I can tell. So it's an unhappy bike, but it did get me home all the way from Sturgis. And I'm very thankful for that. But now the dealer's gonna have to come get it, as it's not rideable, even if I can get it started. I still have suspicion of that coil wire, because I took it off and put it back on and it started where it wasn't starting at all before. So maybe there's something wrong with that wire, and hopefully they can just replace it. But I'll be real interested to see what the issue actually is. I did check for codes since I have a check engine light. You do that by holding the trip switch down and turning the ignition on. Just hold your trip switch down for a moment and the diagnostic mode comes up. And you can see that I have no codes. So even with the check engine light, I'm not getting a code. With all of these computers, I'm really not sure how that's possible. But there's no indication as to what the issue is. So it's been a week since I've seen my bike, and the dealer called and they said they found some damage with that coil wire, just as I suspected. So even though I took a close look at it, they're saying the wires were really loose at the pins inside the connector. And when they tugged on it, one of the wires actually broke loose. So they're expecting a repair kit to come out, and therefore we've been waiting for something to come from Harley Davidson. Well, just today, we have a service bulletin on this issue. M1700 Ignition Coil Harness Repair Kit for Center Cooled Vehicles. So this impacts any of the new touring bikes with the new infotainment screen. And they know that if any of the 4 wires going to the connector are damaged, the Ignition Coil Harness Repair Kit should be used. And here it is, the Center Cooled Touring Ignition Coil Wire Harness Kit. If we go down, this is what's included in the kit. 4 pieces of shrink wrap tubing, a new coil connector with some wire on it, a standard Christmas tree zip tie, and an offset zip tie, which is a new addition. That's interesting. So we have instructions for the 2023 to 2024 models. So it'd really be the 2023 and a half CVOs and the 24 models. And they note that you can leave the ignition coil hanging. You don't have to completely remove it. You're going to disconnect the ignition coil connector, remove the ignition coil bracket, push out the cable strap, and remove the 2 screws. So if we take a quick look, there are 2 knock sensors on the 2023 and a half and the 2024s. On the 2025, there's only 1 knock sensor. And I think that's the difference here. And if we go down here, they note the 2025 models, they show 1 knock sensor for the 2025 models. Otherwise, it's all the same. So the next step is to prepare the existing wire on the bike. So they're going to have you cut the different colors of wires at different lengths to match the varying lengths on the replacement connector. And I think the reason they do this mainly is because all of that additional shrink wrap tubing will make that cable very thick. So if you offset the cuts, you're going to offset the shrink wrap tubing, and that'll make the overall wire thinner in gauge. So they have you cut each wire to a different length on the bike, removing the damaged wires and connector. Here again, they confirm what the colors are and the lengths are supposed to be. And then from there, they have you prep the replacement harness. So you pull back the sheathing, you put on your shrink wrap tubing, and then you solder wire to wire matching the colors. Next, they have you reroute the new wire. So they have a standard Christmas tree zip tie connection that goes underneath the mounting bracket. And then here is that offset mounting zip tie. So it offsets, it scoots it over about 1 inch. And I think that's really just to help with the bending of the wire to take some of that tension off of it. The one thing they note is you don't replace that zip tie. So if your bike is not having any issues, I highly recommend you remove that zip tie. It may prolong the need for this repair. So yet another wire harness issue with these new bikes. Can you believe it? Just when we think there couldn't be any other issues, another one appears. It's really amazing how many challenges we've had with the harness and just how much frustration and disappointment, frankly, it's created. Any electrical issue is just so hard to troubleshoot, and especially if you're on a long trip and the bike just dies, good luck finding that this was your issue. But this is the latest fix, and again, if you're not having the issue, I highly recommend you remove that zip tie, crimping that wire underneath your coil. So I'm still waiting for my bike to return. I can tell you I'm really starting to miss it. But at least I got home from Sturgis okay. I sure hope you found this information useful, and if you did, you go share it with someone else. I'd also love it if you'd subscribe. I'm hunting for a few. But until next time, in the friction zone.